Sure. Here's Literature, Part 1. Of your story in a clear third-person narrative using simple and basic English. This section is approximately 800 words, designed to hook the reader and set up the mystery of the missing ship. The stars stretched, far beyond what any human eye could see. Out past the edge of known space where even light seemed to hesitate, something had been lost. 5 years ago, the USS Liberty vanished without a trace. No distress call, no wreckage, just gone. The Liberty was not just any ship. It was one of Earth's most advanced deep space explorers, built for long missions into the unknown. Its crew had been hand-picked, some of the best minds and bravest hearts in the service. Captain Daniel Reyes led the mission with calm authority. Beside him was Lena Brooks, a sharp pilot who trusted her instincts more than any machine. Engineer Marcus Hale kept things running, and Science Officer Ava Porter looked for answers where others saw only questions. Their last mission had been ambitious. They were sent to study a strange wormhole, an opening in space that didn't match any known pattern. It pulsed like a heartbeat, drawing attention from every major space agency on Earth. Some believed it was a gateway, others feared it was a trap. No one knew what happened when the Liberty entered the wormhole. The last signal came through garbled, filled with static and something else, something that sounded almost like a voice. Then silence. For months, search teams combed the area. Satellites scanned deep space. Governments offered rewards. Nothing turned up. Slowly, people gave up. Memorials were held. Families mourned. Life moved on. But not for everyone. On Earth, Lena Brooks's younger brother Jason still watched the sky every night. He wasn't a scientist or a soldier, just a mechanic who worked on old shuttles at a small port near the coast, but he never stopped believing his sister was alive. He read every theory, listened to every rumor. He knew the official reports said the Liberty was gone for good, but he didn't believe them. In a quiet office in New York, Ava Porter's former research partner, Dr. Nina Taylor, still reviewed old data from the wormhole mission. She had spent years trying to decode the final message. She couldn't explain why, but something about that last transmission haunted her. It wasn't random noise. It was something else, something intentional, and somewhere far away, in a forgotten part of space. A faint signal blinked once, then again. It was weak, barely noticeable against the background hum of the universe, but it was there. Back on Earth, a young tech named Zoe Lee picked up the signal by accident. She was testing a new array of deep space scanners at a remote observatory in Colorado. She thought it was a glitch at first. The numbers didn't make sense. The frequency was too old to be real. But as she ran the scan again, the same pulse appeared. Slow, steady, unmistakable. Zoe called her supervisor. He laughed it off. Probably interference, he said. Maybe a satellite drifting in orbit. But Zoe wasn't so sure. She saved the data anyway, just in case. Days passed. The signal didn't repeat, but word had already spread. Whispers in scientific circles, rumors in military channels. Someone, somewhere, had seen the data. Then, late one night, a government agent showed up at Jason Brooks's door. He didn't say much, just asked if Jason still had access to old Liberty schematics. Jason nodded. He had kept them all these years, stored in a dusty box under his bed. "We need your help," the agent said. Jason didn't ask why. He packed a bag and left with the man. Weeks later, another visit, this time to Dr. Nina Taylor's lab. 2 more agents arrived, both serious, both silent, until they handed her a file labeled confidential. Inside was a single page, the decoded fragment of the Liberty's last message. She stared at it for a long time. It read, "Not lost, not alone." Nina felt a chill run down her spine. The Liberty wasn't gone. It was coming back. Let me know if you'd like this exported as a .docs or .txt file, or if you'd like to continue with part 2. All right, here's cause part 2 of the story, written in War third person, using simple and basic English. approximately 800 words, and designed to build suspense and intrigue. No headings are used as requested. A silent ship hung in orbit, above Mars. No lights blinked, no engines hummed. It was like a ghost drifting through space, unseen for years, now suddenly returned. The USS Liberty had come back. No one could believe it at first. The signal was weak, almost lost in the static of deep space. But then came the confirmation. The ship's transponder code matched exactly. It was real. The Liberty was here. Panic spread quickly across Earth. Governments held emergency meetings. Military forces were put on high alert. News channels ran the same footage over and over. Grainy images of the ship, cold and unmoving. Was anyone still alive on board? To find out, a team was assembled. It wasn't just any group of soldiers or scientists. They were chosen carefully, each with a specific skill. Leading the mission was Lieutenant Commander Evan Cruz, a calm man with sharp eyes and steady hands. Beside him was Nina Taylor, brought in for her knowledge of the original mission. Joining them were Marine Specialist Kyle Morgan and AI Analyst Zoe Lee. Their job was simple in theory: board the Liberty, assess the situation, and report back. But nothing about this mission felt simple. They approached the ship in a small shuttle, guided by remote control from a nearby command station. The Liberty loomed larger with every passing second. Its hull was intact, not a single sign of damage. That alone made everyone uneasy. Evan gave the order to dock. The shuttle latched onto an airlock with a soft hiss. The team suited up, double-checked their gear, and stepped inside. The corridor was dark. Emergency lights flickered, casting long shadows along the walls. The air was stale, untouched for years. Yet something didn't feel abandoned. It felt changed. Zoe scanned the area with her handheld device. "Atmosphere is stable," she said. "Oxygen levels normal." "Then why isn't anything working?" Kyle asked, hand resting near his sidearm. Nina moved ahead slowly, running her fingers along the wall. The metal felt warm, not hot, but not cold either. "This ship shouldn't be like this," she muttered. "It should have frozen in space." Evan motioned for silence. They listened. Nothing. Just the sound of their own breathing. They reached the bridge. Chairs were in place. Consoles were dark. But there, on the main display, was something strange. A faint symbol glowing in the corner of the screen. It wasn't human. Zoe stepped forward, eyes wide. "That's not our tech." "You sure?" Evan asked. "I'm sure," she whispered. They found more signs as they explored. The ship had been modified. Systems had been upgraded beyond anything Earth had developed. Walls had strange patterns etched into them, like circuits that pulsed when touched. Even the gravity felt different, lighter, unnatural. In engineering, Marcus Hale's old workstation was untouched. Tools lay where he had left them. But next to the console sat a new panel, alien in design, humming softly. Kyle tapped his earpiece. "Command, this is Team Alpha. We're seeing some weird stuff. Down here, requesting further orders." A long pause. Then a voice crackled through. "Copy that, Alpha. Hold position. We're reviewing your data." Minutes passed. Finally, Command spoke again. "Continue the sweep. Document everything. Do not interact with unknown systems unless necessary." Evan nodded. "Understood." They moved deeper into the ship. Every step echoed louder than the last. The feeling of being watched grew stronger. It wasn't fear. It was something else. Awareness. In the mess hall, they found something even stranger. Food containers were open, half-eaten. Cups sat on tables, drinks long dried out. It looked like the crew had been interrupted mid-meal. Nina picked up a cup. "This doesn't make sense," she said. "If they vanished 5 years ago, how is all of this still here?" "Maybe time works differently," Zoe offered. Kyle shook his head. "Or maybe they never left." Evan turned to him. "What do you mean?" Kyle pointed to the hallway behind them. "Someone or something is still moving around in this ship. Silence fell over the team. They weren't alone. Somewhere deeper in the ship, something stirred, and it knew they were there. Let me know if you'd like this saved in a docs or txt file, or if you want to continue with part 3. Here is a part 3 on of the story, written in calm third-person narrative, using unsimple and basic English, approximately 800 words, with no headings. This part dives into what the Liberty's crew found during their disappearance. The team moved carefully through the ship step by step. The deeper they went, the more the USS Liberty felt like something else. Something not quite human. Anymore. Evan Cruz led the way, his hand never far from his sidearm. Behind him, Nina Taylor scanned the walls with a small handheld device. Zoe Lee followed close, eyes darting between glowing panels that pulsed like they were alive. Kyle Morgan brought up the rear, always watching the shadows. They reached the data core room. It was where the ship stored all its mission logs, flight records, and crew reports. If there was any record of what had happened to the Liberty, this was the place to find it. Zoe stepped forward and connected her tablet to the system. The screen flickered, then lit up with lines of old files. She scrolled through dates looking for the last entries before the ship vanished. "Here," she said. "This is the final log." Nina leaned in as the audio played. A voice crackled through the speakers, calm but tense. "Captain Daniel Reyes. Day 32 since entering the wormhole. We're still alive, but I don't know how much longer we can hold on. What we found out here, it changes everything." The voice paused. "We passed through the wormhole expecting to find another star system. Instead, we came out near something ancient, massive. Not a planet, not a station. Something older than anything we've ever seen." Another voice joined in. Ava Porter's. "It wasn't built. It was grown. Like a machine made of metal and thought. We tried to study it, but it studied us back." The recording cut off. Zoe stared at the screen. This was 5 years ago, but they were still alive when they recorded this. "Alive," Evan said slowly. "But not alone." They kept digging. More logs appeared. Some were short, others were long, filled with descriptions of strange sights and impossible discoveries. One entry described how the crew sent a drone to scan the alien structure. The drone vanished. Then, hours later, it returned, but it wasn't the same. It spoke in voices none of them recognized. It showed images of places they didn't know. Lena Brooks's voice came through another log. "We think the thing out there was once a civilization, maybe even a single being. Whatever it was, it's gone now. But it left something behind." "What?" Kyle asked, though the question was only in his head. The answer came in another file. "A message," Ava said. "Or maybe a warning. It gave us a choice, leave empty-handed or take one thing, one piece of knowledge. It called it the Seed Core." Nina frowned. "Seed Core?" Zoe tapped the screen. "There's a file labeled Core Access Log." She opened it. Lines of data scrolled fast. Then came a video feed. In the image, the Liberty's science lab. Ava stood beside a table. On it was a small black sphere pulsing with light. "This is it," she said. "The Seed Core. It's not just tech, it's a library, a tool. It contains the sum of something beyond us. If we can understand it, we could change everything." Daniel's voice followed. "We made the deal. We gave it our knowledge of humanity, our history, our science, our mistakes. In return, it gave us the core." Zoe stopped the playback. "They traded information for this Seed Core. And look where it got them," Kyle muttered. Nina looked around the room. They weren't just studying space, they made contact, and whatever they met, judged them. Evan nodded. "Judged them and let them go, barely." They kept searching. More logs showed what happened next. The crew tried to leave. They fired up the engines and aimed for home. But the wormhole closed behind them. They were trapped. Then came the worst entry. Ava's voice again. It changed its mind. It said we weren't ready, that we hadn't earned the knowledge. It tried to take the core back. The video showed alarms flashing red, crew members running through corridors, Daniel shouted over the noise. "We're breaking free. We don't have time." The screen cut to static. Zoe swallowed hard. "They escaped, but barely." "And 5 years passed out here," Nina said. "But for them, it was only weeks." Kyle shook his head. "So what now? Do we even try to use this thing or destroy it before someone else gets their hands on it?" No one answered. Outside the room, deep in the ship, something clicked, like a door opening, or something waking up. Let me know if you'd like this saved as a docs or TXT file, or if you'd like to continue with Part 4. Here is Part 4N of the story, written in a third-person narrative, using simple and basic English, approximately 800 words, with no headings. This part dives into the cost of the Liberty crew's decision to take the seed core. The lights flickered again as the team stood in the data room. The ship felt like it was breathing around them, slow, deep, and aware. Evan Cruz looked at Nina Taylor. "You said they made a deal. What exactly did they give up?" Nina tapped on her tablet, scrolling through more logs. She found one from Ava Porter. "We uploaded everything," Ava said in the recording. "Our history, our science, even our failures, all of it." Zoe Lee leaned closer. "That means every war, every mistake, every dark moment of human history. It's all in there." Kyle Morgan shook his head. "And that thing out there saw it all? It judged us based on what we gave it?" Eva nodded slowly. "And it decided we weren't ready." Evan stared at the screen. "So what happened after? They left?" Nina pressed play again. This time Daniel Reyes's voice came through, tired and tense. "We thought we were free. We thought we had gotten away clean. But the seed core wasn't just knowledge. It was alive. It changed things." The image cut to a view outside the Liberty's observation deck. Stars blurred past as the ship moved fast through space. Ava spoke next. "We didn't understand at first. The core started rewriting itself, learning from us, adapting to us." Then Lena Brooks' voice. "It was changing the ship too. Systems started acting strange. Some rooms became unresponsive, others opened on their own." Daniel's voice returned. "We tried to contain it. Marcus built barriers. I ordered everyone to stay away from the core chamber, but it was already too late." The video shifted. Now the camera was shaking, red lights flashed, alarms blared. "Ava." It started speaking, not in words but in thoughts, in feelings. It asked questions we couldn't answer. "Lena. Some of us heard it in our sleep. Others saw things that weren't there." Marcus Hale appeared on screen, for the first time. He looked tired, scared. "It wanted more," he said. "Not just knowledge. It wanted control." Ava paused the log. "They didn't just trade information. They invited something on board." Zoe looked pale. "Something that learned from us and then decided we weren't worthy." Nina scrolled further. Another file caught her eye. This one was marked "Final Attempt." She clicked it. The screen showed Ava alone in the lab, standing near the seed core. Her face was drawn, eyes dark. "We're making a choice," she said. "We can't keep running. We have to send it back." Ava looked confused. "Send it back?" "They tried to return the core," Zoe whispered. "The video," continued Ava. "We're going to use the last jump drive to send the core through a black hole. If we do this right, it will be lost forever." Daniel's voice joined hers. "But we don't know what happens to the ship, or to us." "Ava, we've seen what it does. We've seen how it changes people. If we keep it, we lose ourselves." The screen cut to static. Zoe looked at Evan. "They tried to destroy it, but obviously they failed." Kyle crossed his arms. "Or maybe they never got the chance." Nina tapped the screen again. More files loaded. These were different. Medical reports. "What's this?" Kyle asked. Nina scanned the text. "These are health records. Crew members showing signs of mental breakdowns, hallucinations, paranoia." Zoe frowned. "Was it the core doing that?" Eva nodded. "It was inside their heads. It was changing them." Evan paced the room. So they tried to get rid of it, but instead they ended up bringing it back here. Kyle looked uneasy. If it can affect people like that, we shouldn't be here. Nina pointed to one final entry. It was from Lena Brooks. Last log, she said. Lena's voice was soft. Broken. We're sorry, she said. We thought we could control it. We thought we could make the right call, but we were wrong. Eva closed her eyes. Lena, don't try to use it. Don't try to study it. Whatever you do, don't let it learn from you. The log ended. Silence filled the room. Zoe broke it. We need to shut this system down now. Evan nodded. Get command on the line. Tell them we're sealing off this section. Before anyone could move, a low hum filled the air. The walls pulsed with light, like the ship was waking up. Again. Let me know if you'd like this saved as a docs or .txt file, or if you want to continue with Part 5. Here is Gaudu, Part 5 of the story, written in third-person narrative, using simple and basic English, approximately 800 words, with no headings. This part explores the effects of the Seed Corps on the boarding team and rising tensions back on Earth. The hum grew louder. It wasn't just coming from one place, it was everywhere. The walls, the floor, even the air felt like it was vibrating. Evan Cruz looked at Zoe Lee. What's happening? Zoe stared at her tablet, fingers flying over the screen. Lines of data scrolled fast. She swallowed hard. The Seed Corps, it's active again. Active how? Kyle Morgan asked, hand on his sidearm. It's scanning us, Zoe said. Learning. Nina Taylor stepped back. Like it did with the crew. Eva, the team medic, looked around nervously. Then we need to leave. Now. Evan shook his head. We can't. Not yet. We need to understand what we're dealing with. Kyle shot him a look. You heard the logs? That thing changes people. Makes them see things, hear things. Eva frowned. I've been hearing something since we got on board. They all turned to her. She rubbed her temples. Not loud, not clear, but like a whisper in my head. Zoe's eyes widened. Me too. Nina looked at Evan. You? He hesitated, then nodded. Once or twice. I thought it was stress. Kyle cursed under his breath. This is bad. This is really bad. Back on Earth, the news had already spread. The Liberty's return was no longer a secret. Reports flooded every network. Governments scrambled. Military forces were put on high alert. Corporate leaders called emergency meetings. Everyone wanted answers. In a war room deep beneath the White House, General Harold Grimes sat at the head of a long table. Beside him was Dr. Lillian Parker, lead scientist for the United Earth Defense Council. Grimes tapped the table. What do we know? Parker adjusted her glasses. The ship is intact, the Seed Corps is still on board, and the team we sent in is still alive. For now. Grimes frowned. And the risk? Parker hesitated. Unknown. Based on old mission logs, the Corps has the ability to rewrite itself, learn from humans, even influence them. Grimes stood. Then we need control of that ship, before someone else does. Meanwhile, back on the Liberty, the team was starting to fall apart. Eva sat against the wall, breathing fast. It's getting louder. Nina crouched beside her. Can you shut it out? Eva shook her head. It's not just noise, it's showing me things. Zoe looked up from her screen. Me too. Images. Memories. Not mine. Kyle paced. This is exactly what they warned us about. This thing isn't just tech. It's inside our heads. Ev and I tried to stay calm. We stick to the plan, we gather intel, report back. Don't engage unless necessary. But even as he said it, he could feel something pressing behind his eyes. A presence. Not hostile, not friendly, just watching on. Earth, the pressure was growing. China issued a statement. Any technology recovered from the Liberty must be shared among all nations. Russia responded, "If it falls into Western hands, we will take action." Corporate leaders pushed for access. Private space firms offered billions for study rights. Protests broke out in major cities, some calling for the core to be destroyed, others demanding its secrets be used to advance humanity. In Colorado, Jason Brooks watched the news from a small apartment. He didn't trust any of them. He knew what happened to his sister. He knew what the core could do. He picked up his phone and dialed an old contact. "I need to get on board that ship," he said, "before it's too late." Back on the Liberty, Zoe stumbled forward, gripping her head. "Zoe," Nina caught her before she fell. Zoe's eyes were wide. "It showed me something. A memory. Not mine." "What kind of memory?" Evan asked. Zoe whispered, "War, fire, death. It's learning from us, from everything we've done." Eva leaned against the wall, trembling. "It's not judging us anymore, it's preparing. Preparing for what none of them could say." Outside the room, deep in the ship, something shifted. Something moved, and it was getting closer. "Let me know if you'd like this saved as a docs or .txt file, or if you want to continue with part 6. Here is part 6 of the story, written in third-person narrative, using Artir's simple and basic English, approximately 800 words and with no headings. This part explores how the seed core's existence leaks to the public and the chaos that follows. No one meant for it to happen, but secrets never stay buried forever. Someone on the ground team sent a file to the wrong person. Just one click. That was all it took. Within hours, fragments of the seed core data reached outside channels. Deep web forums lit up with rumors. Anonymous leaks posted snippets of classified reports. Within a day, the world knew. Earth had found alien tech on board the Liberty, and it was unlike anything ever seen before. At first, people didn't believe it. Governments denied everything. The United Earth Defense Council issued a statement calling the leaks false information. But then came the videos. Footage taken by Zoe Lee during the initial scans. Blurry images of glowing panels. Audio files of whispers no one could explain. Someone edited it all together and uploaded it to every major network. The truth went viral. Panic followed fast. In cities across the world, protests formed overnight. Some called for the immediate destruction of the core, fearing what it might do. Others demanded access, believing it could solve hunger, disease, even death itself. Social media exploded. Conspiracy theories spread like wildfire. Some claimed the government had known about aliens for decades. Others said the Liberty crew had made a deal with something beyond human understanding. In Washington, General Harold Grimes slammed his fist on the table. "Who leaked this?" Dr. Lillian Parker looked pale. "We're still tracing the source, but it doesn't matter now. The cat's out of the bag." Grimes cursed under his breath. "This changes everything." It did. On the stock market, shares in private space firms skyrocketed. Investors poured money into companies claiming they could decode the core's technology. Military contractors offered billions for even limited access. China and Russia accused the West of hoarding alien knowledge. Both nations began mobilizing forces near key spaceports. Tensions rose quickly. The world edged closer to something dangerous. And somewhere in Colorado, Jason Brooks watched the chaos unfold from his small apartment. He wasn't surprised. He knew this would happen the moment the Liberty returned. He picked up his phone and dialed again. "I need to get on board that ship," he said, now more than ever. Back on Mars orbit, the situation worsened. Evan Cruz sat in the Liberty's command room, staring at the live feed from Earth. Riots in the streets, speeches from world leaders. Fear everywhere. Kyle Morgan stood behind him. They weren't ready. Evan didn't answer. Zoe Lee paced the room, her hands shaking. "This isn't just about us anymore. Everyone wants the core." Nina Taylor looked at the screen, and none of them understand what it really is. Eva sat quietly in the corner, eyes closed. She hadn't spoken much since the voices started getting louder. She whispered, It's not afraid. It's watching. Kyle frowned. Watching what? Eva opened her eyes. Us. Our choices. Our fear. Meanwhile, back on Earth, things spiraled further. Corporate leaders met in secret, offering bounties for anyone who could access the Liberty. Hackers tried to break into secure systems. Black market traders sold fake pieces of alien tech to desperate buyers. One group took things further. A radical organization known as the New Dawn Alliance released a public message. The future belongs to those willing to take it. Hours later, a private ship launched from a hidden base in Africa. Its destination, Mars orbit. Its mission: reach the Liberty before anyone else. And they weren't the only ones. Multiple vessels left Earth in the next 48 hours. Some flew under national flags. Others traveled in secret. All of them wanted the same thing: the seed core inside the Liberty. Evan's team realized the danger too late. Zoe checked her scanner. We've got incoming ships, several. Nina looked at the readings. They're not waiting for permission. Evan stood. Then we need to move. Now. Outside, the stars burned cold, but below them, on Earth, and above them, in space, something new had begun, something dangerous, something unstoppable, and the Liberty was at the center of it all. Let me know if you'd like this saved as a docs or TXT file, or if you want to continue with Part 7. Here is Part 7 of the story, written in third-person narrative, using a simple and basic English, approximately 800 words, with no headings. This part focuses on the difficult choice Captain Reyes and his crew must make about the seed core. The USS Liberty floated silently in orbit around Mars, but below it, on Earth and above it in space, everything was falling apart. Ships from different nations were closing in. Private companies had sent their own vessels. Some wanted to study the seed core, others wanted to claim it. A few wanted to destroy it before anyone could use it. Inside the Liberty, Evan Cruz and his team stood in the command room, watching. The screens light up with incoming signals. They're all coming, Zoe Lee said, voice low. Governments, corporations, even rogue groups. Nina Taylor looked at the data. Some are armed. Kyle Morgan crossed his arms. This is bad. Real bad. Eva sat in the corner, eyes closed, breathing slow. She hadn't spoken much since the voices started getting louder. Evan turned to her. You okay? She opened her eyes. It's not just me anymore. It's showing everyone now. Meanwhile, deep inside the ship, something stirred. In the core chamber, the seed core pulsed like a heartbeat, syncing with the minds around it. Learning. Adapting. Waiting. On Earth, the United Earth Defense Council held an emergency meeting. General Harold Grimes stood at the front. We have one chance, he said. We either take control of that ship or we lose everything. Dr. Lillian Parker shook her head. General, we still don't understand what the core does. If we try to force it, Grimes cut her off. We don't have time for theories. We need action. Back on board the Liberty, Captain Daniel Reyes finally emerged from hiding. He had stayed away, letting the boarding team do their work. But now, with the world closing in, he knew he couldn't stay silent any longer. He walked into the command room, tired but determined. You should have never come here, he said. Evan faced him. We didn't have a choice. Daniel nodded, slowly. Maybe not, but now you have to make a choice. One we already made, and regretted. Nina stepped forward. What are you saying? Daniel looked at each of them. We took the core because we thought we could help humanity. We thought we could control it. We were wrong. Zoe frowned. Then why didn't you destroy it? Daniel's face was dark. We tried, but once it learns from you, it becomes part of you. Part of us. Eva whispered. That's why we hear it. Daniel nodded. It doesn't just copy knowledge. It changes people, shapes thoughts, makes you believe things that aren't real. Kyle looked uneasy. So what now? Do we keep it locked up? Hand it over? Blow it up? Daniel looked out the window toward Earth. None of those options work. Someone will always want it. Always try to use it. Evan asked the question they were all thinking. Then what's the answer? Daniel turned back to them. There is only one thing left to do. He pulled up a file on the console. It showed blueprints of the Liberty systems. At the center was the seed core. Connected to it were failsafes, hidden protocols, built by the original crew. Nina read the plan. You're going to hide it. Daniel nodded. Deep inside the ship's neural network, where no one can access it without the right code. Zoe looked worried. And if someone cracks the code? Daniel's voice was quiet. Then we're already too late. Eva stood. I'll help you. I can feel it better than the rest. I know how it thinks. Daniel gave her a long look, then nodded. They got to work. Wires were cut. Systems were rerouted. The seed core's main interface was sealed behind layers of encrypted firewalls. The final step was the hardest. Eva placed her hands on the core. Instantly, pain shot through her mind. Images, memories, voices, not hers, not human. She gritted her teeth. I can do this. Daniel put a hand on her shoulder. You sure? Eva breathed deep. I'm ready. With a final push, she completed the process. The seed core blinked once, then went dark. The ship shuddered. Eva collapsed. Kyle caught her before she hit the floor. Is it done? Nina asked. Daniel checked the system. Yes. The core is hidden, buried so deep even we can't reach it. Zoe stared at the screen. But someone might find it. Daniel looked at her. Then let them try. By then, maybe we'll be ready. Outside, the first foreign ships arrived. A message came through. This is command. Stand down and prepare for transfer. Daniel calmly responded. This is Captain Reyes. The Liberty is yours, but you won't find what you're looking for. As the first boarding teams approached, the Liberty remained silent, waiting, watching. Let me know if you'd like this saved as a docs or TXT file, or if you'd like to continue with Part 8. Absolutely. Below is Yande, Part 8 on of the story, written in 18 third-person narrative, using simple and basic English, approximately 800 words, with no headings or markdown formatting, just plain text in a flowing style. The USS. Liberty sat in dry dock above Earth, surrounded by armed guards and watched by 1,000 eyes. It was no longer just a ship. It had become a symbol of hope, of fear, of something humanity wasn't ready for. Inside a secure facility on the ground, Dr. Lillian Parker stood in front of a panel of world leaders. They wanted answers. She didn't have many. The seed core is gone, she said. Or at least we can't find it. General Harold Grimes frowned. You're telling me one of the most powerful pieces of alien tech ever discovered is just missing? Parker nodded. It's buried deep within the ship's systems, encrypted beyond anything we've seen. Even if we found it, we wouldn't be able to access it without the right code. Grimes crossed his arms. And Reyes? What about him? Parker glanced at her notes. He surrendered willingly. He says he doesn't regret taking the core, only that he didn't understand it soon enough. Outside, on a rooftop not far from the facility, Jason Brooks watched the sky. He hadn't been allowed on board the Liberty since it returned. The government still didn't trust him, but he knew the truth. His sister had been there. She had fought for control. She had tried to do the right thing. And now, the world was trying to pick through the pieces. On board the Liberty, Evan Cruz walked alone through the quiet halls. The ship had been stripped down, scanned, studied. Nothing had changed. The seed core remained hidden. Zoe Lee sat nearby, reviewing logs. They'll never find it, she said. Evan looked at her. Maybe that's the point. Nina Taylor joined them. We don't even know if it's asleep. Maybe it's just waiting. Eva sat quietly in the corner, still recovering. She hadn't spoken much since sealing the core. Sometimes she still heard it. Faint, distant, like a dream fading away. Kyle. Morgan leaned against the wall. I keep thinking about what Reyes said. By then, maybe we'll be ready. Zoe sighed. Ready for what? Eva finally spoke. For whatever comes next. Back on Earth, the debates continued. Some called for the Liberty to be destroyed. Others believed it should be kept as a warning. A few whispered that humanity should try again, that we should find the wormhole and go back. In secret, a new mission was already being planned. High, above the planet, the Liberty remained silent, waiting, watching. Months passed. Slowly, life moved on. The protests died down. The news cycle turned to other things. But the questions never went away. Was the seed core truly gone? Had it learned everything it needed from us? Would it ever wake up again? In a small classroom on the West Coast, a young cadet listened to a lecture about space exploration. The teacher talked about the Liberty, about its return, about the choices made. After class, the cadet stepped outside and looked up at the sky. A friend asked, "Do you think we'll ever go back out there?" The cadet didn't answer right away. Then, softly, he said, "We weren't ready then. Maybe we are now." Above them, the stars burned cold, and somewhere, far beyond them, something stirred, not loud, not close, but listening. Always listening. Let me know if you'd like this saved into a downloadable file like .docx or txt, or if you'd like all parts compiled together into a full story document.